What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Donrico from the Imperial Empire. I'm on my way over to Temecula, California. I got some business that I gotta handle. I didn't think I'd be back here so soon, but I gotta deal with a little issue that's been bugging me. But in the meantime, I thought I might as well have this conversation with y'all, because a lot of times, and I've noticed this in the behaviors of people, whether it be at work or outside, everyone kind of has this inflexible, static, stuck mentality when it comes to, and it's not just like improving their own lives for themselves, but just in anything really, like trying new experiences, expanding their mind, growing, developing their mindset so they can reach new levels, whether it be promotions at their jobs, whether it be achieving better relationships with people, strengthening their current relationships. Even in terms of fitness, for example, they opening your mind and changing the way that you do things and your habits. And this is something that's actually perplexed me for a minute, and I don't understand why you wouldn't have a flexibility in terms of your mindset. So it's honestly a genuinely confusing conundrum. But we'll talk more when we get to the other side. So I'm gonna catch y'all on the flip side. All right, y'all, so I'm back out here in the streets. I'm out here now that we can continue to have this conversation, because you know me, I like to be out and about. So, alluding to what I was saying to earlier in the car, I need to understand why people are so, how should I say this, are so indifferent to growth and to be more flexible from a mentality perspective. If you notice that something's not working for you, why not just change it? If you notice that your way of doing things is going to continuously put you in a position to where you're perpetuating your current existence or circumstance, why in the world would you continue to perpetuate that type of mentality? I never understood it. And for the longest time, if I'm going to be honest with you, for as long as I can remember, since I was a small, tiny brat, I never understood why everyone would go with this groupthink and why they would continue to do things that does not work for them. Listen, as I said, if you're going to move up in any degree of capacity, whether it be socioeconomically wise, whether it be within your relationships, your fitness, etc., it seems to make sense to me that you're going to have to do some changes. And the thing that blows my mind is that in order for you to become something different, to attract different results, you're going to have to do different things. And doing the same things that you've been doing over and over again is not going to get you to point C. Like, you may have started from point A, now you've successfully gone to point B, but in order to get to point C, you can't do the same things that got you from point A to point B. You're going to have to open your mind and shift your mentality. And this is especially true in corporate America, for example, because as you ascend the corporate ladder in this corporate hierarchy, it becomes less about how hard you work and how much of a good job that you do. It becomes more about cultural fit, marketability, and your overall ability to network and to get along and to see yourself not only as the thing that you're going to go for, but also having other people seeing themselves working alongside of you. It becomes more about marketability and visibility than it does about how well you do your job. Because let's be clear, doing your job, that's your reasonable act of service. And I'm not just talking about in terms of, and just corporate America either. I'm just talking about in everything. Because what's going to get you to point B to point C is going to be completely different. And if you think that doing the same thing that got you here is what's going to take you there, sadly, you're mistaken. But a lot of people, they don't mature and they reach that mentality, and they do so because pride, ego, and arrogance. Pride, ego, and arrogance. They're too proud to admit that their way of doing things is not going to get them there. Their ego gets in the way because they think they have to keep it real or do this, or I'm not going to fold to this, I'm not going to be a culture fit, I'm not going to do this. Okay, fine, stay broke. Stay broke, stay unsuccessful, stay a loser, because that's how losers think, because you're demonstrating your inability to adapt to the circumstance and to the environment. That's what you're demonstrating. You're demonstrating your inability to adapt. Excuse the noise. I got cars going through. I actually like to film video and content when I'm out and about in the streets, because I know that most people ain't doing this. And it's a way of also challenging me to not really care about what people might think of me. There are countless cars just driving through all around here. I honestly, genuinely do not care, because to me, it could be cringe now, but end up getting paid later. That's how I see it. And that's that mentality shift that you have to have. The people might think, oh, I'm too proud, or oh, he's weird, why is he doing this? Oh, like what he looks stupid doing this. And again, that's that pride, ego, and arrogance that I'm talking about. That attitude and those mentalities is what's going to keep you broke, it's going to keep you poor, and it's going to keep you stuck. And then you're going to be complaining and whining, even though deep down inside you know that you're responsible for doing so, and that you're the reason why you are in the position that you are. But instead of actually outwardly admitting it and actually making the adjustment, you're just going to lash out. I don't understand the inflexibility of mind when it comes to people. I don't mean to make this a long conversation. Honestly, this is kind of low-key more of a rant than it is a conversation, because, and this is why I like to keep my childlike sense of wonder. People might think, oh, why do you act so childish here and there? Like, oh, why do you do this? It's because, like, dude, like, when you keep that childlike sense of wonder and your childlike self alive, life becomes brighter, and you become more flexible. And that's the key there. Children, they don't mind asking the questions. They don't mind making people feel uncomfortable. They don't mind doing stupid things, and they don't mind experimenting and trying new things to get to different results, certain results or outcomes. But as adults, we get adult life beat into us on a day-to-day basis, and then we wonder why, and we realize why we become so dull, why we become less like individuals, why we're not operating like the way that we should be operating, why we lose our creative selves, and why we give up on our dreams, and etc. It's because you let that child within you die. And instead, you're trying to keep up this faux image of adulting and being an adult so that you can fit into a mold. And more often times than not, the mold that you're trying to fit into is not what's conducive to your own growth and to your own prosperity and your progress. It really isn't. So I want to challenge you guys to keep an open mind and to be flexible, and challenge yourself to do something different, do something new, even if it's very uncomfortable. Hell, challenge yourself to do what it is that I'm doing right now. Just grab a stabilizer, grab your camera, phone, whatever it is that you use, and just record yourself in public, even though there are people around you. You can peep my content. I've been doing this for a while now. There are content where I have people all around me, whether I be in San Diego, whether I be in this city or that city, it really doesn't matter. Or here in Temecula, I'm always out and about and I'm recording myself, and I don't really care or check too much about what people think of me. And sometimes you just gotta do it. You just gotta dive in and do it. Even though you may be scared, even though you may be uncomfortable, but that usually comes from the ability to be flexible of mind and be like, you know what, let me try something different. Let me do this. Let me experiment with that. Because like I said, most people are unwilling to do that. And when most people are unwilling to do that, most people are unwilling to make that change and adjustment, that's when they stay stuck. That's when they stay stuck and they don't operate, or they don't exercise new possibilities. So just a short video for you guys. I want you guys to challenge yourselves to keep your flexibility. I want you to challenge yourself, but more importantly, don't be afraid to experiment and to explore. Because let's be clear, you don't want to be down in the dumps in the rat race with everybody else just because they're afraid of doing so. And it's a good way to separate yourself because you're doing something that most people aren't doing. But also importantly, and then I'm just gonna close with this, adapt. Adapt, adapt, adapt. Remember, what took you from point A to point B is not what's going to take you from point B to point C. You're going to have to change your mentality, and you're going to have to open your mind and adapt more efficiently. That's it. That's all I got for y'all. Just a quick word in conversation. You know what it is. You know how I be. All right. I'm gonna catch y'all on the flip side. Until then, stay open, keep progressing forward, and yeah, just keep doing the work. I'm gonna holler at y'all another time. Deuces.